Hello, high school hockey fans. Welcome to another edition of This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey, the rare daytime recording this week. I am Bill Berg Jr., filling in for MJ Hammett. Joining me this week are Dan Bauer and Bill Berg. Hello, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Like it, I didn't even want to start day drinking, so
So you're
none of
actually
that
sober
did
for
it.
this week.
Yeah.
All right, well, we did not have a podcast last week because of weather and illness and holiday tournaments, and those things are all still in effect. So we're going to catch up on the last 2 weeks, I guess, this week, starting with some holiday tournament recaps. We'll start with Dan.
All right. Yeah, I was put on a lot of miles, about I think 650 miles. Went to Madison, then back to Wausau, then to Hayward, then back. A lot of bad roads, a lot of McDonald's coffee, but I did get to see 20 out of the 27 girls teams in those 3 days. So that was pretty fun to see so many of them all in just two spots. The Culver's Cup was the first one I went to down in Madison, and that went from an 8 to a 12 team tournament this year. They changed the format. They turned it into three, four
Yeah,
team
he's a nice.
pools. And so they end up with three winners this year, actually, a winner in each pool. Some really exciting games. The first game I got to down there, Lakeshore beat the Fusion. Um, Fusion had a 2-0 lead at the end of the first period. Lakeshore came back and beat them. And I think Lakeshore was kind of the surprise of the tournament. I had quite a few people come up to me, kind of like, "What's up with Lakeshore?" And like, I didn't know they were going to be this good. And so I think they kind of caught some people by surprise. They did end up winning their pool. They won two games and ended up losing their last game in overtime to Fond du Lac, which was another really good game, one of the best games that I saw down there. Fond du Lac played in their fifth overtime game of the year. I think that's probably a record right now. Janesville got their first win of the year down there. They beat Pines. Superior won their bracket. They went undefeated, winning all three of their games. A couple really exciting games for them. They beat Brookfield 5-4. That was a really good game. And then they beat the Storm 4-3 in one of the final games, excuse me, of the tournament. And that was another really good game. And then Wisconsin Valley Union won their pool, and they did not give up a goal in three games. So they went undefeated and unscored upon in the three games that they played down there. And then the Fusion squeaked out a game. I think it was the last game of the tournament, or maybe the second to the last. They beat the Lynx in overtime 3-2, which was a little bit of a surprise, I think, for a lot of people. But the Lynx played in the tournament. They lost two games in overtime to the Fusion and to Fond du Lac. Were two really good teams, and then lost to Lakeshore. They have a little goalie, not very big, Addie Bazell, but she played fantastic throughout the entire tournament. Um, so that's the Culver's Cup. Then it was up to Hayward for the last day up there. They played two games on the first day. Everybody plays two games, and then they have all their champion or their the last round of games on day two. And that was another good tournament. A lot of good teams there. I know Chippewa Falls had some issues on the first day. Got there really late. Their first game actually, because of the roads, had to be postponed and played later in the day. So that caused some issues. But when it was all said and done up there, Bay Area turned out to be the what I guess everyone has been expecting so far. They won the tournament. They beat Black River in the championship game 4-1, and those two had met earlier in the year. Black River won 2-0. Excuse me, Bay Area won 2-0. But Bay Area scored three goals in I think it was like the first 3 minutes of the game, 2 or 3 minutes of the game. So that kind of took a little bit of the luster off of that game. But Black River played kind of hunkered down, played pretty good after that for the rest of the game. Ended up 4-1. Hayward beat Eau Claire in the third place game, 2-0. And Eau Claire took Bay Area right to the edge on the semifinals. The second game of that first day, they lost to Bay Area 3-2. In that game, that's the closest anyone has come to Bay Area so far. Consolation game, Chippewa Falls. Menominee beat Arrowhead 4-3, and Beaver Dam beat Cooley Region 3-2 in the seventh place game. So that wrapped up the Hayward tournament, and that's the Wisconsin Prep Hockey Holiday Classic. Site for next year's tournament is still being determined. And in winning the tournament, Bay Area won their 35th straight game, which by all the records I can dig through and find is a state record for the girls, 35 consecutive wins. Maybe the most exciting wasn't really, I guess it was a tournament, but probably the most exciting game for the girls over that break was Western Wisconsin beat Stillwater in overtime, and Stillwater was at that time the ninth ranked team in Double A in Minnesota. They had a record of 13-2-1, and Western Wisconsin beat them in overtime. So that was pretty exciting. Hudson went to the Winona tournament. They won all three of their games there, but they had some issues with, I think, teams that dropped out because of the weather. So I'm not really sure who ended up winning that tournament, but that's I think, the lowdown for the girls' tournaments over the Christmas break.
How long has Hayward had two sheets of ice?
Uh, uh, I don't know. I would say less than 10 years, but I am not 100% sure. And they have a beautiful outdoor rink with sky high glass and all brand new. It's really nice. I mean, they just turned all of their upstairs seating into shooting galleries and a weight room. Yeah, I mean that rink from when I was playing there in the 70s has really come a long ways.
All right, and then we'll go over to Bergler to see what he got up to for the last 2 weeks.
Well, I think that the holiday tournament started out okay. I went to the closest one, um, which was the Anago Holiday Tournament, and they won. They won their own tournament. They beat Shawano Bondwell 3-1 in the championship game. And I got there uh, shortly after the third place game, Manitowoc and Green Bay United ended. And I watched Manitowoc getting into their buses, and Green Bay, not the WIAA program, getting into their cars, which, it's like a Bantam game. You transport yourself. There is no bus because there is no school. So anyway, Anago won their game, uh, 3-1 against Shawano Bondwell. Shawano Bondwell's got some good players on it, and they outshot Anago quite a bit in that game. But freshman goaltender Austin Martinson, who was our player of the week in week one, showed why he's pretty good. Um, the Culver's Cup. Well, also there was a RWD invite. I don't know if that was so much a tournament as they had six teams and each team played two games. Fond du Lac and McFarland each won both of their games. So I don't know if that makes them champions. I'm not sure how that was scheduled. I was kind of expecting to see, like those two games to determine seeding for, some sort of playoffs, but that didn't happen. Um, And then thank you, Dan, for explaining to me how the Culver's Cup worked this year, because it was the same thing there. There were uh, 12 teams, 6 games a day over 3 games. And again, I didn't see any sort of playoff thing. Day two was kind of mixed up because a couple games didn't happen. West Salem didn't stick around for their second game, and I don't think Madison West and Marshfield played either. But the teams, I would guess if that's like the girls one and there were 3 winners, they would be Fox Cities, River Falls, and Sauk Prairie. Each won all of their 3 games. Um, so that was the Culver's Cup. The Neenah Red Nose Classic. I was going to go there for the championship game, and unlike Dan, uh, I've lost my hockey dad sense where you just drive through anything. This weather doesn't matter. I didn't go because I didn't like the roads. Anyway, I should have gone because that would have ended a bit of a shocker where the Nina Hortonville Menasha Rockets beat Spash 4-2 in the championship game. Third place was USM over New Richmond. But yeah, uh, Spash versus Nina Menasha. It was 4-2 game. I was also going to go to Green Bay for Cornerstone to see the first day of the Notre Dame showcase, not a tournament, just a showcase. Uh, they have what 8 teams. They each play 3 games. The opponents vary, um, and in that one, Wausau West and Edgewood. I guess you would call them the big winners because they each went 3-0 in that tournament, that showcase. Wausau West, they had 7-0 against Springs. They did 8-3 against Chippewa Falls, and then 9-2 over Verona. So Wausau West kind of waltzed through that one. Edgewood was a little tougher. They had 4-3 over Brookfield. Edgewood, well, 8-1 over Eau Claire Memorial, and 4-3 over Notre Dame. So Edgewood had closer games, but they also won all 3 of their games. Somerset went up to Proctor, Minnesota to play up there. They split their first 2 games, so I didn't go to the Minnesota site to see how everybody else did. They're the only Wisconsin team up there. So they split their first 2 games. So I'm assuming they were playing for third place, and they lost that one to Red Lake Falls 2-1. So they showed up well. They beat Minnesota River. Don't know where that is, but they beat them 5-3. Then lost to Lourdes, which I think is a Rochester school. They lost to them 4-3. So Somerset did well up there. Lost the third place game. Um, those were the tournaments that were reported to us. I know there were some other tournaments. There was one going on in Agawaki, but we never got brackets, so I really can't tell you what happened there. I know Hudson went to a tournament in Minnesota, but we didn't get a thing on that. So um, that's really all I can tell you.
Okay. Then moving on from tournaments, let's talk about money, everybody's favorite topic. Bergler just posted a thank you back on the 5th. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, yes, we did not reach our goal with donations. We got a couple more today. Um, actually, one yesterday. Tomahawk Hatches jumped into the silver level, and Jeff Lindeman jumped into the gold level as a supporter today, and that brought us up to 50% of our goal of 8,500. So we got about halfway. And as I said in the article, the banner ads and stuff that Dan's been working on, I think we got enough there to make up that gap that we were short in the donation. So thank you everybody who donated. We did leave it open, in case you missed it, in case we didn't make it clear enough that we were begging for money. You can still donate if you want. The stuff is still up there, but thank you for your donation, or I'm sorry, thank you for your support.
All right. We'll move on from there back into some more regular content. We'll talk about our Players of the Week presented by Quench Hydration. This week on the girls' side from Medford, Zalia Leonard. Listen to this. On Monday, she had 3 goals in an 8-4 loss to the Icebergs. Then on Tuesday, she changed tracks entirely and had 54 saves with 2 goals against in a 2-1 loss to the Icebergs. Good for a 964 save percentage. Then on Friday, she took the goalie pads back off and had 4 goals in a 6-4 loss to Viroqua. And then on Saturday, their starting goalie got pulled after the first period, down 4-0. She put the goalie pads back on and made 28 saves, allowing 3 goals in a 7-1 loss to Badger Lightning, good for a 903 save percentage. So she had 7 goals and stopped 86 shots last week, which is a pretty good week.
Yeah, pretty unusual. I don't think you see a lot of players doing that today, going back and forth playing both and doing it as efficiently and as well as she's done it. So yeah, her coach loves her. I mean, he has lots of good things to say about her. Even he's brand new this year, Bruce Peterson. He put her back on defense to start the year, and he said she never complained, never gave him a side eye or anything. Just went back, did what she was asked, and so he has a lot of respect for her. And obviously, she's a pretty good athlete, or she wouldn't be able to be doing what she's doing right now. So yeah, pretty interesting story. I'm actually going to be talking to her hopefully next week or sometime this week, and just do a little spotlight on her and what she's doing, playing both positions.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I looked.
Macy Blooming did that for one of the Milwaukee area teams for a number of years. Went back and forth, but I don't think she was their leading scorer when she wasn't in the net. So I mean the 2 games back to back against the Icebergs kind of point out the dilemma for the coach. Well, we can put her in the net, but we're not going to score any goals and we're going to lose 2-1. Or we can skate and we'll get some goals, but then we're going to end up losing 8-4. So, yeah, it's a dilemma.
Yeah, I mean, she's a senior this year. When she was a sophomore, she was their starting goalie. She put up 901 minutes. She had 0 minutes at goalie last year. So then this year, now splitting time between the two, she leads the team in save percentage and goals. It's pretty impressive. Moving down to the boys' side for our Quench Player of the Week is Owen Porter, forward from Madison Edgewood. Everybody's heard of Owen by now. On Monday, he had 2 goals and an assist in a 4-3 win over Brookfield. On Tuesday, he had 2 goals and an assist in an 8-1 win over Eau Claire Memorial. And on Wednesday, he had 2 goals and 2 assists in a 4-3 win over Notre Dame Academy.
So he was a big reason that Edgewood went 3-0 in that Notre Dame showcase over the weekend, over the holidays.
All right, moving on to our top sixes. We will start with Division One. Despite the fact that they lost, Spash still has the number one overall ranking. Winning 35 regular season games in a row will get you the benefit of the doubt, I guess. Nina moved up 2 spots to number two. Wassa West dropped one spot to number three. Hudson dropped one spot to number four. Madison Edgewood is still number five. And University School of Milwaukee slides into the sixth spot. They were not ranked last week. Also receiving votes in Division One were Brookfield, De Pere, Fox Cities, Muskego, Notre Dame Academy, and Sun Prairie, who haven't received a vote in a long time. But they were on multiple ballots this week.
So what Wausau West goes 3-0, winning 3 games handily in the Notre Dame showcase, and they drop a spot in the rankings.
Yeah, but it makes sense because I mean they just got beat what 5-0 by Spash, and then Nina came back and beat Spash, so Nina had to get up above Wausau West, and Spash was going to obviously stay above Wausau West. You know, it's
Yeah,
not always clean.
couple I think interesting teams that aren't getting, I mean, they're in the top six, but Hudson is 8-2, and their only two losses this year are to Minnesota teams. They play Spash Saturday, I think. So we're gonna find out a lot about Hudson this weekend. And then Edgewood's only loss is to Wausau West, and that was pretty close game at 6-4, and they're 9-1. So I mean, those are two schools that I think are are going to be heard from before it's all over this year too, and maybe quietly hanging in the weeds right now.
Hudson and Spash probably would have been the game of the week if it wasn't for that stinking Packer game.
Yeah, I was about to say that my 25 years of Wisconsin prep hockey, tells me I should really go and watch that game. It's only, about 40 miles south of here. It's a quick drive down Highway 51 or 39, whatever you want to call it. But it's at the same exact time as the Packers Bears playoff game. So I've been a Packers fan longer than I've been a Wisconsin prep hockey guy.
All right, moving on to Division Two. The top three are the same. Northland Pines, Waunakee, and McFarland. Although the gap between Northland Pines and Waunakee is very small, it could have changed from one ballot. St. Mary's Springs moves up two spots to number four. River Falls is five. They were not ranked last week, and Baldwin Woodville drops two spots from four to six. Also receiving votes are Amory, Monona Grove, and Somerset.
Yeah, for me, the interesting thing about Division Two right now is like I have sort of a chart or whatever, and there's just not that many teams that I have like on the chart right now. I like with Division One and the girls, there's a pretty healthy list of teams that I think are in the hunt or in the running, but it seems to be that there's fewer of them that have established themselves in that position on the Division Two right now. For
I
me,
mean, this is probably the first time in the two division era that only one team from the Great Northern Conference got votes. Generally, you can count on two of them being in there, whether it's
Well,
one
they
of them
moved
got
one
one of
up.
them got stolen by
Yeah.
Division One. Tomahawk got moved up, but
I'm
you
sure
can usually count on Lakeland or Mosinee to be in there too. But they're
Tomahawk will
not,
get.
and I'm honestly kind of surprised Amory still got votes. Um, they lost to Sheboygan in Schofield last week, and then they lost to DC Everest. And not to besmirch my home team, DC Everest isn't great. They're pretty average as far as D1 teams go. Um, so I was surprised to see that Amory still got some sixth place votes in the D2 bracket.
Well, those are both Division One teams that they lost to.
Right.
I mean,
But
that's Amory is playing more Division One schools to try and, toughen up their schedule, so to be a little more battle tested, heading towards tournament time.
I mean, that's what helps out. Obviously, River Falls, they're in the big rivers. We've beat that horse to death over the years. St. Mary Springs is in the same conference as Nina, Hortonville, Menasha, and Fond du Lac. Monona Grove is in the same conference as Madison Edgewood. So they've all got, you know, D1 beat 'em up teams in their conference, and Amory doesn't have that, and neither does the Great Northern teams. Obviously, Tomahawk got moved up this year, and once again, that is a travesty of justice.
I think we're required to say that during every podcast. Um, that it's just, yeah, it's a joke or a travesty that they moved the smallest school up to Division 1 just because they had
They were
a
good for
group
the
of
first
young
time ever.
guys coming through. They are like a perfect Division 2 team. They just don't have the depth for Division 1.
Yeah, and to me, the sad part about their whole situation is like they did it the right way. Like they just said, "Hey, we're gonna revamp. We're gonna, look at our youth program. We're gonna redo it, and then we're gonna do everything we can to keep our best players home here playing. We're not pulling a bunch of players in from wherever else you might be able to get them nowadays with open enrollment and everything that exists. And then they go and win it, and they have a chance to go this year legitimate, probably better than legitimate chance to defend it, and it just gets taken away from them. I can't. It's just, yeah, it was a bad decision. I just don't know how when the appeal came through, somebody with some common sense didn't go, yeah, we probably shouldn't do this.
All right, moving on to the girls. Bay Area is a unanimous number one yet again. Western Wisconsin moves up one spot to second. St. Croix Valley Fusion moves up one spot to third. Lakeshore Lightning is fourth. They were not ranked last week. Black River Falls is fifth. They were not ranked last week. And the Eau Claire Area Stars dropped 4 spots from second to sixth. Also receiving votes for the girls were Beaver Dam, Central Wisconsin, and Hayward. So now Central Wisconsin has completely fallen out of the top six, which is like never happened.
It might be never. I'm
I'm
not sure.
I'm, I'm pretty sure they've never been out of the top six.
It hasn't happened very often if it has, but yeah, I mean, Bay Area just continues to just look like there's nobody that can get in their way, but we all know that you run into the right goaltender at the wrong time or the wrong goaltender at the right time, however you want to look at it. And that can happen. Black River Falls has been playing really well, went to Winona last night, and that's exactly what happened to them. They put 58 shots on net and got beat 1-0. So, I mean, it can happen. I don't know that it's going to or if that's probable, but it's there. Western Wisconsin is really, I think, a really strong team. They played 6 teams, I think 6 games now, 8 games now in Minnesota. They're 4-4 over there. Um, the Fusion continues to play well. They got a win last night over CFM. Lakeshore Lightning. I think a lot of people are surprised. And for me, the biggest thing about Lakeshore is they are incredibly young. Like the strength of their team is in their freshman, sophomore classes. I mean, they have some good juniors and seniors, don't get me wrong, but um, the bulk of their scoring right now is coming from their youngsters. And Black River Falls playing well. I think they'll be there at the end. And Eau Claire just kind of, they're good. They got the 2 girls, Wright and Bonner, and I mean those two together, they can really raise some havoc out there on the ice. They're two very good players.
Well, it's kind of nice this over the holiday break. 20, like you said, 20 of the 27 girls teams were in, 2 tournaments. So they were like really facing each other where you don't get that all that often where, all the teams are playing against each other and you get a good cross section and a good chance to see who's picked up from last year and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was fun to see. I literally see all 20 of them in 3 days. Maybe not a full game for all of them, but I definitely got to see everyone play, and so yeah, you get a pretty good picture of what it looks like when you get to look at that many teams in that short a period of time.
All right. Moving on, our upcoming games of the week. Saturday, the championship game of the Wausau West tournament, which is Wausau West, Middleton, Eau Claire Memorial, and Notre Dame Academy, will be our boys' game of the week. And on Friday, Brookfield at the Badger Lightning will be our girls' game of the week.
Yeah, that's always been a good tournament at Wausau West. Middleton and Eau Claire Memorial are both down. We saw that in the holiday tournaments that they're neither of them are as strong as they were before. Um, but it's funny this tournament we can't like say okay let's yeah they haven't played the games yet, but it looks like uh, it should be Notre Dame and Wausau West in the finals, and we can't even say well yeah that's going to be the game of the week at 3:30 or whatever because um, we don't know what time the final is going to be. The two games are Saturday are going to be 1 and 3:15 or something like that. Um, but Wausau West is going to play in the early game, regardless of what happens on Friday. So
Why is
uh,
that?
I don't know. Probably so they can I'll get comfortable and go home and watch the Packer game. Or well, they don't have very far to go. I don't know why it is. All I know is it said in the schedule that they're going to play the early game on Saturday. So if they win on Friday, that'll be the championship game. If not, it'll be the third place game.
Okay.
Tonight would have been a good night. I looked at this game too. Western Wisconsin was supposed to play Eau Claire tonight, but I see that that one has been postponed. So I got lucky and didn't pick that one again this week. But that would have been certainly a good game. Fox City is supposed to play Bay Area tonight. I think Fox Cities is a team that we'll hear from too. So that I would like to see that one tonight too, but I don't think I'm gonna hop in the car and go there tonight.
Yeah, I was tempted to go down to Wapaka to see Northland Pines play Wapaka. Uh, the battle for second place in the Great Northern Conference. Um, Northland Pines did give Tomahawk a good battle, um, but they're
They're for real. I think they're for real. I think Pines is really good. So
Well, they'll probably meet again in the Great Northern Conference tournament.
I would say that's possible.
I don't
Probably
know do
likely.
we know where that is going to be this year?
I do not off the top of my head.
I'll have to find out.
Based on Mosinese posted schedule, I'm going to say it's at the historic Eagle River Sports Arena because they have three TBDs at the end of January at the historic Eagle River Sports Arena, or two TBDs um, on a Friday and Saturday.
Oh yeah, I think what they do is they play
They play the
the
opening round at the home locations and then the last two rounds at the tournament location.
right, right.
All right. Anything else tonight, gentlemen? Today, gentlemen?
This weekend in River Valley Hockey Association, St. Croix Falls, they're having that first Hockey Day of Wisconsin, trying to get that off the ground. There will be some outdoor high school games going on there. Amory and West Salem are going to play Friday night. And then on Saturday, there's three, I guess, sort of marquee games. Western Wisconsin will play Anoka on Saturday at 2. And then the UW Eau Claire and the UW, excuse me, UW Eau Claire and UMD men's ACHA club teams will play at 4:15, and then 7:15, the nightcap, is another boys game. Rice Lake will play the Northwestern Icemen. So, and then there'll be some youth games again on Sunday. So it's a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's a lot of information about it up on the site. You can look at it, find out all the rest of the games that are going to be there and what's going on this weekend. But it'll be interesting to see how that event turns out, and it's whether it's something they will now be able to continue forward. Um, the idea is that they were going to keep it in the River Valley, that's St. Croix, probably for the next 2 years, and then hopefully, if things are going well and it's a successful event, start moving it around the state. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
And I
I
do have
was,
to
I
issue a
was,
correction. That is not the Great Northern Conference tournament. That's the Pines Classic I was talking about.
oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we have to go to that. That's the 30th year of the Pines Classic. The same four teams, all 30 years, University School and Hayward join Mosinee and Northland Pines up there. So that's going to be a big to-do this year for it's the 30th year, but what did you say that was?
The 23rd and 24th.
Of January?
Yes.
Okay. I'll have to keep that on my schedule.
Coming right up.
I was tempted to go over to River Falls for that hockey day in Wisconsin thing, mainly to see the night games. Outdoor hockey at night under the stars. That just takes me back to my youth. Um, it's it'd be very picturesque. You'd have picture some very good pictures. But again, it's like a 4 hour drive from here, and there's that stupid football game on Saturday night anyway.
Yeah,
Priorities,
it's
priorities.
messing up a lot of people's schedules, I
Well, I
think.
mean, the Bears realized last time they played that all they have to do is have one of their backups take a couple cheap shots at the quarterback, and then the Packers are cooked. So, I mean, I'm sure they got a spare backup they can do it with again.
Well, I mean, actually, well, we won't get into the foot. This isn't about football, but the Packers still should have won that game even with the backup. You don't. Packers have a history of blowing onside kicks. Let's just leave it and drop it and not go any further.
All
Drop it
right.
is
It's a painful history of botching onside kicks.
Well, all right. I think
All
that's
right.
it for this week then.
I got one more.
Okay.
Just personal level for me and interesting, I guess, proud moment for me on Sunday. I went over to Augsburg and got to watch my twin daughters coach against each other as Augsburg played Lawrence, Division III women's game. So that was pretty cool for me to see those two on benches across, not across, on the same side of the ice of each other. And two teams in very different places. Augsburg currently, I think, is third in the country, and Lawrence is winless and somewhere near the bottom. Few teams in Division III, and so I was a little apprehensive going over there. Didn't want it to turn out to be a 10-0 game, and um, the goaltender for Lawrence was amazing. And I think the shots on goal for the game ended up 72-5.
Ew.
And yeah, Lawrence won, or excuse me, Augsburg won 6-1. So the score turned out to be okay. But yeah, just a great performance by their goaltender. She was fantastic. And when it was all said and done, they got to shake hands and hug, and everybody went home okay, maybe not all happy. So that was a fun moment for me, and we'll see where I don't know where those two will end up or if they'll stay with it. But right now, it was fun to see that happen. So
Well, all right. For Dan Bauer and Bill Berg, I am Bill Berg Jr. saying please come back next week for another episode of This Week in Wisconsin Prep Hockey.